That's the one and only Stevie Nicks, whose songs have touched the lives of millions, both for her work with Fleetwood Mac and for her solo career.
She is Stevie Nicks, the voice that defined a generation, a woman whose music speaks to the soul, whether it is through her solo work or as part of the legendary Fleetwood Mac. She has always been fearless when it comes to sharing the truth. And now, at 76, Stevie is finally revealing the raw and painful truth about her complicated relationship with Lindsey Buckingham. Their partnership created magic, but behind the music was a storm of emotions: love, anger, heartbreak, and years of silence. Now she is lifting the veil on what really tore them apart. Long before the lights and fame of Fleetwood Mac, Stevie and Lindsey were already chasing a dream. As young musicians in the early 1970s, they performed as the duo Buckingham-Nicks. Together they were building not only music, but a deep and passionate relationship. They lived, worked, and dreamed side by side. But even then, things were not perfect. Underneath the harmony, the cracks were already starting to show. Their love was real, but so was the tension. Everything changed in 1975 when they were invited to join Fleetwood Mac. In an instant, they went from unknown musicians to global rock stars. Their energy brought new life to the band. Their creativity sparked something powerful. But with the success came pressure, and with pressure came pain. Their romantic bond could not survive the weight of fame, jealousy, and personal struggles. Yet they stayed together as bandmates, forced to relive their past every night on stage. Lindsey was known for being intense in the studio. He was focused on every note, every sound, every detail. Stevie, on the other hand, needed space. She believed in feeling the music. She needed freedom to write from her heart. At first, these differences created a beautiful balance, but it did not last. The pressure to make perfect music only made their differences harder to ignore. Stevie would later say that Lindsey's control made her feel trapped. In a 2017 interview with NPR, Stevie said they were very different people. He was exact and disciplined. She was expressive and emotional. Their opposite styles helped them write incredible songs, but they also led to some of their most painful fights. And those fights were not just behind closed doors. They were in the music. When Fleetwood Mac released Rumours in 1977, fans heard the heartbreak. Songs like Dreams and Go Your Own Way were their personal battles turned into melodies. Stevie wrote about letting go. Lindsey sang about the pain of separation. Together, they turned their private pain into public art. The success of Rumours was massive. The album topped charts. It won awards. It changed music forever. But inside the band, things were falling apart. The tour schedule was brutal. The personal wounds were fresh. Their connection, once full of passion, became heavy with frustration. They were no longer lovers, but they were not strangers either. They could not escape each other, and the band could not avoid the tension that surrounded them. What the fans saw as chemistry on stage was often a cover for deep emotional wounds. And as the years passed, those wounds only grew deeper. The magic they created came with a cost. Stevie began to feel more and more suffocated. She started to speak out about what was really happening. Lindsey's perfectionism became overwhelming. He had a vision for the music, but sometimes it felt like he wanted to control her voice, her image, even her identity. She said it felt like he was trying to tell her who to be. In a 2020 interview with The Guardian, Stevie admitted that being around him made her feel exhausted. His energy was too much. His presence left her drained. And that feeling of being stifled never fully went away. Even as they continued to perform and record, the tension between them never healed. Every reunion came with new arguments. Every tour brought more pressure. One of the biggest breaking points came in 2018. Just before a major world tour, Lindsey was fired from the band. At the time, Fleetwood Mac made polite public statements, but the truth came out later. Stevie told Rolling Stone that his behavior during a Music Cares event had pushed her too far. He rolled his eyes. He made her feel small. She said it was no longer fun. She had reached her limit. Lindsey saw it differently. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, he claimed that Stevie had given the band an ultimatum. Either he would leave or she would. He called it a coup. Fans were divided. Some took Stevie's side. Others stood with Lindsey. The split was public and messy. But for Stevie, it was a moment of truth. She had finally chosen herself over the partnership. This was not the first time their personal issues had taken center stage. In 1997, during a reunion concert for the album The Dance, emotions spilled out again. They performed Silver Springs, a song filled with pain and longing. As Stevie sang, she looked directly at Lindsey and sang the line, "You'll never get away from the sound of the woman that loves you." The moment became legendary. But behind the applause was a reminder of everything that still lingered between them. Fleetwood Mac's history was full of success, but behind the success was a trail of broken hearts. For Stevie, Lindsey was once her closest partner, but also the source of her greatest frustration. And the more time they spent together, the more painful it became. She said she often felt second-guessed. She said it became something she simply could not take anymore. The problem was not just one fight. It was years of feeling misunderstood. It was the slow buildup of emotions she had buried for too long. Stevie admitted that the emotional toll had changed her. It made her guarded. It made her careful. She began to protect herself from being hurt again. The love that once brought them together had turned into a wall that kept them apart. Even though Stevie has acknowledged how brilliant they were together, she has also been honest about the damage it caused. In several interviews, she said they made great music, but could never make the relationship work. The love was always there, but so was the pain. Their connection was deep, but it was also fragile. It broke too easily. And once it broke, it never fully healed. Since 2018, there has been no real reunion between them. Stevie has chosen to move forward by focusing on the legacy of their music. The songs they made still touch lives. Their albums still sell. Their voices still echo. But the story behind those songs is one of heartbreak. It is a story of two people who gave everything to the music, even when it meant losing themselves in the process. Their relationship was a storm. Sometimes it was beautiful. Sometimes it was destructive. But it was never boring. The emotional push and pull gave Fleetwood Mac its edge. Albums like Rumours were not just collections of songs. They were windows into real pain, real anger, and real love. That is why the music still matters. In one interview, Stevie said their relationship was the drama that made everything interesting. That drama was hard to live through, but it made the band unforgettable. Mick Fleetwood once said that their bond was both a gift and a curse. He saw how their emotional battles could overpower the music. He also saw how it made the music stronger. Stevie and Lindsey could never truly separate their personal lives from their professional ones. They were tied together by music and by memory. And no matter how far apart they grew, that connection remained. It was a bond forged in love, tested by fame, and marked forever by the songs they left behind.